Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am doing my bullet journal setup for the month of September. So because I am going into my final year of university, I decided to add a little assignment checklist as well as my schedule for the fall semester, and then just a little goal review. And this is just an extra spread before we get into the actual month of September. Unfortunately, at this time, they still haven't figured out my schedule, even though I'm going back in about a week and a half. So that's blank for right now, but when I do figure it out and I'm notified of it, then I will be able to finally fill it out. So as you might be able to tell, the theme for this month is Dr. Seuss and his characters. Now, before I tell you the backstory behind why I chose this theme, I did just want to make a little disclaimer. I understand that Dr. Seuss has some problematic books that have racist imagery in them, and they're being discontinued and no longer published, I believe, which I 100% support. I do not want to support any book that features racist imagery or other problematic themes, so I did not include any characters that are stars of those books, and I will not name them to not bring any more attention to them. I just chose characters that I grew up with and that are quite popular. So now to get into why I chose to do this. When I was a senior in high school, so my grade 12 year, I was read this book by one of the staff members. Not just me personally, like all of us were read this book as a way for the staff to kind of congratulate us on making it through all of high school and wish us well for the things that we were going to do in the future. So as an homage to that kind gesture that the staff did for us, I wanted to make the first month of my final year of university the same theme. So I tried to pull in as many different characters as possible. So the front cover here is just like a little, almost like a class photo of some of the most popular characters. Some of them you'll see again later, and then some I just thought they were really cool. Like the one that I'm drawing right now is the star-bellied Sneetch. I just like the way that it sounds. Like, who came up with the name Sneetch? I don't know, but it's cool. And the quote page on the left there is from Oh, the Places You'll Go. It says, "You have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself any direction you choose." I thought that was quite fitting, considering that, you know, once I graduate, I'll have my degree and I can basically go anywhere in the world and do whatever kind of nursing that I want to do. So I thought it was fitting and I liked it. It was kind of hard to figure out how it would fit on the page, so definitely not the best looking, but that's okay. Now on the calendar page, all of the characters are from the book There's a Wocket in My Pocket. So the character on the left here is the Wazit in the closet. I thought that it fit really well because of the way that the calendar was formatted. So I did in fact draw the whole closet that the Wazit is in, and it just fit perfectly there. The guy on the top is the main character with the Wocket in the pocket, and then the bottom right corner is the yacht in the pot. Now I drew that one because I thought it was going to fit well in that bottom corner. Does not fit nearly as well as I thought it was going to, but it had a fun expression, like it was popping out of the pot, and it was cool colors. And then I had markers that actually matched those colors. So again, that's kind of why I chose to do that. And the rest of the calendar is just standard. I have my 5x5 square boxes that are all separated by a 1x1 square. I have a little section for notes, and then the title of the month at the top. Now, because there is lots of different characters from this book, and I couldn't include all of them, I just chose to draw September in like a slightly larger font. There was one character I did want to include. It was like the one that sits on the toothbrush. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I thought it was really funny and it looks kind of mean, but I didn't really have a place to put it that would make sense. So again, I just wrote September a little bit bigger and then chose these three other characters to put there. So moving on to the expense tracker and habit tracker. The expense tracker looks the exact same as it does every single month. Although now, like looking back on this, I do have a section for tracking how much I spend on work, but I only have one shift scheduled right now, so it's not going to be very much. So I might just omit that in the coming months because I'm back at school and I won't be working nearly as much. So we'll see if I end up discontinuing that, or if I forget by the time I do October. And for the habit tracker, I wanted to do something different, so I have the characters from 1 fish, 2 fish, red fish, blue fish, and then instead of doing the little numbers, I just have the shape of the calendar outlined like I did back in February. And the fish, starting in the top left, is the 1 fish, below it is 2 fish, red fish is the top of the center, and then blue fish is below that, and then I had to pick 2 random ones, which I picked the fat one in the yellow hat, and then the old fish is below that. So the mood tracker on the right page there is also from Oh, the Places You'll Go, like the quote page. It just has the little guy standing on the top of that mountain looking thing. And for the mood colors, you will see that I do try and choose colors that mirror the original. So for the first week, the characters are from The Cat in the Hat. I remember reading The Cat in the Hat, and also The Cat in the Hat Comes Back as a child. So The Cat in the Hat himself is on the left there, and then Thing 1 and Thing 2 are on the right. And this is a similar setup that you've seen in both July and August. There's just no like craft paper in this one like there was in August. Week 2, again, this is a similar theme setup as to what was in July. It's Horton Hears a Who. It was a big toss-up between Horton Hatches an Egg and Horton Hears a Who because I grew up with both of those and love both of those, but I thought it would fit better if it was Horton Hears a Who. Now on week 3, we have the Lorax. The Lorax is quite possibly one of my favorite Dr. Seuss characters. I loved the book growing up. I cherished it. We had like a hardcover copy, and the movie that they made out of it is one of my favorite children's movies of all time. I guess one of my favorite animated movies. So this theme, or this setup, I keep saying theme, it's the setup, I originally did in August, where I had mushrooms on the sides. This time I chose to do the truffle trees. I thought that would be really cool, and I love the way that it turned out. And then the pose that I did the Lorax in is just from the front cover of the book that I had as a child. Unfortunately, I don't own any of these books anymore, or if I do, they're at my parents' house and I don't have access to them. So I just tried to go off of images that I found on Google. So if things aren't 100% accurate, and obviously the colors aren't going to be the same because I just had to work with what I had, then you're just going to have to deal with it. So week 4 here is the Grinch. Now, I know that the Grinch is a Christmas character, and I tried to not put him in any Christmas gear in order to kind of shy away from that Christmas because it's September and Halloween comes first. So that's why he's just playing there, and so is Max. And for the final week, we have Hop on Pop. Again, another book that I grew up with, so I just have the 2 kids jumping on the belly, and this is a spread that you've seen lots in my previous months. And then the color. So I went in mostly with my King Art markers. I felt that they had the closest colors to the original cartoons, and I obviously wanted to keep it as close as I could. Now, in terms of the amount of time that this took for me to finish, planning it all out took a couple hours, and then sketching everything took like an entire day to do, and then doing all the line art took about 4 hours, and then coloring was a couple hours as well. So if you were planning on doing the same theme, you definitely do not have to make it nearly as drawing intensive as I did, because this did take me quite a long time. And yeah, if you were doing it week by week, I'm not sure if you would actually have time to do that if you are a student like myself. So I did do this all at once in August when I wasn't working, in order to just kind of sit down and bang it out. And I am really happy with the way that it turned out. I really don't mind taking a lot of time on my bullet journals, because it is something that brings me a lot of joy and makes me very happy. So, and when I have the time, I do like to obviously take the time when I can. I love to draw, I love bullet journaling, so it's just a fun time for me all around. And I think that's pretty much all I have to say about this. The coloring, like I mentioned, is pretty standard. I tried to keep it the same as the cartoons, and I basically just went character by character in order to make sure that I wasn't messing up the colors partway through. So I started on the front page with Sam I Am from Green Eggs and Ham, and then just kind of moved right to left, I guess. I'm not really sure why I chose to start on the right. Even when I was doing the line art, I don't know why I started on the right. And yeah, then I just went through character by character, and once I finished one page, I would just move on to the next and then just keep going that way. And that was to try and keep everything consistent. And also I had specific markers that I like tested out and knew that they were the right color for those characters. So I had them set aside, and I didn't want to forget because I had, I don't know, probably like 20 or so markers set out at this point. You can see a few of them on my desk there, but there was a lot set out, and yeah, I didn't want to confuse any. Like in particular, the yacht in the pot, I had 2 markers set out for his like fur, and I also had other pinks and orange set out for the truffle trees, so I didn't want to mess any of that up. And I'm really excited to see what the mood tracker is going to look like at the end of the month, since I have a lot of like little mood emoticons, like there's 6 of them this time to fit with the 6 original colors. So I'm interested to see if it will resemble even slightly what the original looks like. Obviously it's not going to, because I can't just plan my mood, but I don't know. I think it'll be cool if it's kind of like the original. So the main color that I chose for this month was this kind of pinkish purple magenta-like color. I honestly thought it was a little bit more lilac than pink, so I did end up having to go back over those truffle trees that are pink and make them more obviously pink because they blended in a little bit too much. But other than that, I think this color really worked because there isn't a whole lot of purple in Dr. Seuss's characters, would you know? So here is my final flip through. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. I think it was super creative. Google Images certainly helped with me figuring out what these characters were supposed to look like, and the different poses that they have been drawn in, or, you know, fan art, I guess, has been drawn in. I'm not really sure. I tried to pick pictures from the actual either movies or books. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every Monday afternoon, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and I will see you all next week.